this is a follow-up to my previous video. I thought about just tacking it onto it, but I decided to make it a separate video entirely. The previous video is just me bemoaning how unapologetically discourteous and disrespectful all of these celebrities are, whether they're actors or athletes or musicians or whatever. They're using any forum they can, any stage, any podium, any microphone, any camera to preach their political agenda, which most of their political agenda, I mean, yeah, it could be what they actually, air quote, think, because they do live in a Western hemisphere of, Western hemisphere of the USA is what I meant by Hollywood and all of the indoctrination that swirls around the black hole that is Hollywood. And maybe they're just sycophants who are trying to latch on to popular narratives. But here is a thread that I thought was a perfect follow-up to the other video. So Michelle Yeoh was asked if she had any comment as an international actress on the current state of the U.S. I don't know why you would ask an international celebrity about this, but she declined to speak about it, stating, "I don't think I'm in the position to really talk about the political situation in the U.S., and also, I cannot presume to say I understand how it is. So, best not to talk about something I don't know about. I think I want to concentrate on what is important to us, which is cinema." Absolutely based. The most based bedrock you've ever heard of in your entire life. Completely correct. No objections whatsoever, for me anyway. And also, there are a lot of people in this thread which say that, why ask her? She's just fine for her to say that. But there's also a lot of people who say otherwise. You may have heard of the streamer, cosplayer, e-girl, whatever, Emiru, who's recently said pretty much the exact same thing. Not so much about the cinema part, but otherwise the same thing. And why was Emiru absolutely attacked, boiled alive by the angry leftists and their seething hatred? Because she's friends with people who have political opinions. And wouldn't you know it, Michelle Yeoh's husband was friends with Epstein, apparently. Top comment, "This isn't surprising. Her husband's name is in the Epstein files." Wow. That's it. You don't want to give your political opinion as a Malaysian about the U.S.'s politics, and the Democrats immediately call you an Epstein defender. 10,000 upvotes on that. That's more than the actual thread has. 9.7 thousand upvotes for that, 8.7 thousand for the thread itself. All she said was that she didn't want to comment on a foreign nation's politics. It's like the far side of the planet, no less. And wait, really? Ew. Oh my god, ew. Her husband's name is in the Epstein files. Yeah, the guy who has an unbelievable amount of contacts and intelligence dating back decades with countless wealthy and powerful people. Oh my god, what a surprise. I mean, there's countless people who would have been in the files, and according to the Democrats, every single one of them is guilty of the most heinous things you could ever imagine, when really, most of them would have probably been guilty of knowing about hookers and cocaine. They're probably just contacting them because of the money involved, the clout involved. And look at these responses. I mean, God, their husband, I don't know exactly how to pronounce their name, but they said that Epstein thought they were weird. So it doesn't necessarily point to shadiness on a sex crime front, but financially, who really knows? Wow. What a great breakdown. Well, Epstein thought they were weird, so that means that they might not have committed a sex crime, but maybe they committed a financial crime. What kind of an insane thing? You could say that about literally anyone for any reason. That is the most ridiculous mental gymnastics. They're trying to say that, oh, well, he was in the same hemisphere as Epstein was 25 years ago, which means that we have to attack his wife, who's a Malaysian, because she wouldn't comment on the U.S.'s current state of politics. Absurd. Yeoh channeling her performance in the Wicked sequel by doing absolutely nothing. Not even seen Wicked, but this is the narrative of the left wing, is that silence is complicit. I've actually seen the right wing starting to do this recently. I've seen some right wing agenda pushers trying to say this recently as well, is that silence is complicity. Silence is guilt. Like, if you are silent, that makes you guilty of the genocide of all of these people. And the right-wingers have been saying the same thing recently. Like, if you're silent, that makes you guilty of not fighting back against the left-wing crazies. And I get where people are coming from, but you have to be a little bit deranged to think that there's an actual war coming on here. This is just crazy idiots on the internet making an ass out of themselves. And it's something that has come and gone over the ages of various dramas, whether it's O.J. Simpson's, Coney 2012, 9/11. Like, these dramas, they come and they go when people get bored of them. Eventually, people will get bored of LGBTQ. Now, it's like a Katamari ball that absorbed a whole bunch of stuff. It stayed relevant for a long time, but eventually people will get bored of it. They'll get bored of it and they'll move on to the next drama. So this isn't like a we've got to fight sort of thing. I mean, it's fine to have your opinion, and it's fine to be silent if that's what you prefer. I don't think anyone needs to say anything. And I think that people should only speak if they have any idea what they're talking about, and they're not gullible morons. Most people are gullible morons, which means they don't have any idea what they're talking about. She just partnered with Sean Baker on a project, so I'm not too surprised to hear this. Well, that does make her a horrible person, doesn't it? Hey, did you know that you breathe oxygen? You know who else breathed oxygen? Jeffrey Epstein. Wow, that makes you just as bad as him. There are, like I said, there are some smart responses to this, which have no hatred for her on this. There's other people who are like saying that if she was an American, I'd be angry at her. And it's like, there was one comment in specific here. I'd be mad at her if she was an American, but she's Malaysian. They simply do not have the same culture of free speech. So, let me get this straight. If they were an American and they didn't say what side of the political aisle they were on, you would have then been angry at them for exercising their right to free speech by not speaking. But because she's a Malaysian and she's not speaking, then you're not angry at her. Free speech doesn't mean you have to speak. Because, see, you just spoke, and it made you sound like an idiot. So maybe you should exercise your free speech to not speak. Oh, God. But like I said, again, there are comments that are smart. You're not American, you wouldn't comment on it either. Of course. Why would you? Why would, like... I mean, there are some things you can comment on. Some, like, objectively bad, like, or not even objectively bad, necessarily. Like, Venezuela. You don't have to really pay attention to American politics, especially because the thing with Venezuela kind of affects the whole world to some degree. You don't have to necessarily pay attention to American politics to comment on that. The Amelia thing in the UK, like, I don't have to know every single thing about the UK's politics in order to comment on that. There are things that you can see, like, very surface level, but if you live on Reddit and you think that everything you see here on Reddit is truth, and you're that gullible to believe that, oh my God, like, every single thing I've seen about ICE, they're kidnapping natural-born citizens from their houses and sending them to dungeons, and then they're never seen again. You'd have to be a goddamn moron to think that, but a lot of people seem to. I don't know her intentions, but to be honest, as a non-American, I do the same. I've heard of ICE, and everything I've heard sounds absolutely horrific. Now, they're not saying they necessarily agree or, like, believe in it, but everything I've heard sounds absolutely horrific. That means you've only heard one side of the story, and you're on Reddit. So, there you go. But then they go on to say, in general, I just wish that people would amplify the voices of communities who are directly impacted, and it's especially egregious in this case because the U.S. has 1 billion celebrities. Why are you asking foreigners? I mean, I agree, but at the same time, there are no voices of communities who are directly impacted to amplify because the communities are illegal invaders in the country. They're illegal immigrants, undocumented migrants, whatever term you prefer to use. It's not like there's some sort of, well, it's everything you read on Reddit. I mean, it's not like there are literal stormtroopers walking the streets attacking people. It's illegal immigrants. Those are the communities whose voices you want amplified. And again, like, you're a foreigner, and this is the only thing you know of. Like, I can look out my window and I don't see nuclear explosions going off, which is what Reddit would make you think is happening. But, respect lost. Wait until you find out about her husband. Again, these people, they are purity testing so hard that I'm not even sure the Democrats stand a chance at 2028. Like, regardless of any kind of potential rigging or corruption or anything that goes on. Like, with people like Reddit and Blue Sky, and I am just sort of anthropomorphizing them as people, with people like them in your corner, how could you possibly win? They're out here purity testing everything. You don't want to give your political opinion as a Malaysian citizen. And apparently, according to another comment I read in this thread, Malaysia doesn't allow dual citizenship, so she's a Malaysian. Not a dual citizen, just a Malaysian. You don't want to give your opinion as a Malaysian actor who is in like Hollywood productions and stuff, and they're going to call you an Epstein defender because your husband at some point went to Epstein Island or something. Who even knows what happened? His name was in the files, and that's it. You either say what they want you to say, or they will try to kill you. And it's no secret that people, especially leftists, are willing to burn down these bridges and break away from everyone they know and care for over politics. Now, the right wing tends to be older. They're the ones who built most of those bridges. They care about them. They appreciate them. The younger people, which are mostly leftists, they don't understand. They think in the here and now. They are like legitimately believing themselves 18-year-olds in a world war, fighting for the sake of our future. I mean, they are holding people, celebrities from other countries, beholden to American politics. They are basically condemning you as an enemy combatant because you are not pushing their politics, and that really shows just how insane they've become. And imagine what happens in 40, 50 years with their children and their children's children. Well, they're going to be raised by them. They're going to be raised by these people who would disown and divorce over who you voted for in a presidency, let alone in the future. Their grandchildren, what's that? You voted for the wrong council member in a local county election? That's it. Divorced and disowned. For what? For celebrities' opinions. And do these celebrities ever argue with each other? Did Green Day, Kid Rock, Bad Bunny, did they ever, like, fight each other? Probably not, because their label tells them not to, right? Their managers say don't. Their lawyers advise against it, whatever the meme is. They don't, because that doesn't benefit them. What benefits them is they all keep their mouths shut instead of attacking each other. We're sitting here attacking them. They're attacking us, but they're not attacking each other. We are fish in a man-made fish farm, and they are just using us for clout. Michelle Yeoh's based AF. She didn't care. Well, maybe she cares, but she's smart enough to not say anything. That's the correct choice, and that's the correct choice for most people, not just athletes, not just musicians, not just red carpet Hollywood celebrities. Most people should just keep their mouths shut. And if you do have an irrepressible desire to talk about politics, I still think you should probably try and avoid doing it on a stage somewhere, but if you can't help yourself, then you can at least try and get a little bit learned on the topic. Don't just parrot things you see on social media or that you've seen on mainstream media. There's plenty of sources out there. You've got a phone in your pocket, I'm sure. Just use that if you don't have a computer, because if all you can do is say F Vance, F Newsom, F Trump, F AOC, then all you're doing is polluting free speech. You're polluting the debate. You're contaminating it all with indignancy and self-righteousness, and it doesn't help. It doesn't help. As you can see, this poor lady is being attacked by lunatics on the other side of the planet simply because she chose not to speak about politics, and that's what all of these people should have chosen to do. Thanks for watching.